So any questions in chapter 17? Okay. So then let's go to the chapter 18.
Question, Prabhu, just one out of
Yes,
curiosity.
Prabhu.
Wasn't there any envy between the two brothers that one is stronger than the other? You said
Um,
like, yeah,
does not seem so. Does not seem so. Rather, Hiranyaksha was. I'm sorry. Rather, Hiranyaksha was happily trying to satisfy his brother by conquering the whole universe. And later, you will see when Hiranyaksha is dead, Hiranyakashipu also tries to pacify his family members. At the same time, he always holds the grudge against Vishnu that here is the person who actually killed my brother. So
okay,
they seem to be very affectionate to each other.
okay, thank you. And now when we see natural disasters like earthquakes and storms and
Mhm.
tsunamis and whatnot, are we to understand that a demon is taking birth somewhere in the universe, or is that not the right way to look at it?
Means I was like, sometimes we see when very extremely unfortunate natural disturbances happen, we generally sometimes feel that. So it could be, or it may not be. There are always these kind of moments when these great demonic personalities taking birth, but otherwise also there can be, because Kali Yuga in itself is like a very inauspicious age. All these natural disturbances are also signs of Kali Yuga, because I'm not able to recollect exactly which other place. I think 12th canto. It also explains how, as the age of Kali progresses, natural disturbances are like signature glory of this particular age. Because in the past yugas, the natural disasters, the Adi Daivika Klesha, is rather less than Kali Yuga.
Understood. Thank you.
Yeah. So even the onset of Kali Yuga is Yudhishthira Maharaj, when he sees in first canto chapter 14, the first thing he sees that seasons are like not happening properly. So he predicts that as a sign of Kali Yuga. And also Vyasadeva in his meditation, he sees Kali, he sees like the seasons are like kind of like mm, messed up like that. So these are the signs pretty much of Kali Yuga also. And sometimes demons may be also taking birth.
Thank you. Very good.
So going to the chapter 18. So now that Hiranyaksha heard from Varunadev that how Lord Vishnu is powerful, so his ego is actually pinched. So he says, "Oh, who's that person who's more powerful than me? Whom this says that he can even kill me? Let me see." And because as soon as a person considers himself as more powerful, and if he knows there is a challenge, then he becomes interested in defeating that opponent and wanting to establish his superiority. So as soon as he hears that there is Vishnu who is more powerful than himself, so Hiranyaksha actually wants to fight with Vishnu and finish him off and establish his position. So naturally, he's not fearful. After hearing from Varunadev, if he was intelligent, he should actually think, "Oh my God, if Varuna says that this guy will kill me, why I will go? I just let me save myself by not going to him." No, rather, because he is very arrogant, he naturally feels inclined to go and face it and to go and finish off Vishnu so that he can establish his superiority. So, because of being proud, Hiranyaksha actually neglects Varuna's warnings, and he goes to Narada Muni, or rather, Narada Muni comes to him and then he learns from Narada Muni the whereabouts of the Supreme Lord. So, he asks, "Where can I find this Vishnu?" And Narada Muni says, "Oh, he's just entering the Garbhodak, he's in the Garbhodaka ocean, Rasatala." And Hiranyaksha had actually dislodged the earthly planet. So Hiranyaksha now actually goes behind the Supreme Lord Varahadev in the Garbhodaka ocean. So then Hiranyaksha actually reaches the Garbhodaka ocean. He sees that the all powerful Lord in the form of Varahadev, he actually has lifted the earth planet that he has he is rescued from the Garbhodaka ocean on his tasks he is having. And in this way, when he sees that, he becomes extremely angry because he dislodged the earth planet for to show his power. And here, seeing that Varahadev is reclaiming earth, so he actually becomes very, very angry and starts calling ill names. He just calls Vana Gochara Mruga. He calls Mruga means animal, an amphibious beast, a forest dwelling beast. This earth is entrusted to us, the inhabitants of lower regions. So you cannot take it and not be hurt by me. So the lowest of the devatas who have taken the form of a boar. So he's so abhorred that Vishnu has taken the form of a boar. The form of a boar is not highly glorified form or sought after form. So, seeing that he has taken a form of a boar, when we are proud, even the smallest, we try to always look for any fault in the other person, in the opposite party. So, any small little fault also, we use it to actually use it against that personality whom we are disturbed with. So, that is why. So, he here says, who takes the form of a boar? So here he's just calling Vishnu that you have taken the form of a boar. You are a lowest of the devatas. What kind of a devata or what kind of a gods that is taking the form of this boar? So that's why he's calling him Vanam Kochara Mruga, oh amphibious beast, a forest dwelling beast. And Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur gives opposite also an alternate explanation for these verses which are being spoken by Hiranyaksha. And we also have to understand this. There's a lot going on here because Hiranyaksha is also Jaya or Vijay. I'm not exactly sure who's who, but so being a associate of the Supreme Lord, Hiranyaksha is also internally remaining in his original form and mood. So he's just trying to give pleasure to Varahadev, but really putting up that role in a best way. So Vishnu Chakravarti is giving an internal reasoning for this verse. So externally it seems like he is angry and he is like kind of he is uh, giving he's calling ill names of Vishnu. Vishnu Chakravarti gives an alternate reading for this verse. He says that, "Oh Vishnu, we have been given the earth by Brahma. But do not give up the earth, O Vishnu. You take care of it. You will obtain our kingdoms along with the earth by being merciful to me." And he also says, "O supreme among the devatas." Instead of calling lowest of the devatas, Vishnu Thakur interprets that as, "O supreme among the devatas who have appeared as a boar for the pleasure of your devotees." So in this way, he always gives another alternate reading for everything. And after that, he also sees. So he then Hiranyaksha calls how, "Oh Vishnu, you are actually nourished by our enemies, who are actually uh, who are the demigods. Actually, you are nourished by our enemies." So how is Vishnu being nourished by enemies? Because all these yajna sacrifices that are being offered to the different demigods ultimately actually reach the Supreme Lord Vishnu. So, in that way, he is being nourished by the enemies, and you have killed the demons by remaining invisible. In the past, Lord Vishnu has killed different demons by being, he just calls him, you are being, by being invisible. So, you are a fool, your power is only mystic. So, today I will actually kill you. And by killing you, I'll actually make all my relatives very, very happy. So it's so strong that the words that he is speaking, it's almost painful to repeat. And that is why I think Vishnu Chakravarti is also giving an alternate reading. So he actually gives an alternate reading of how the devatas have taken shelter of you because and who kill asuras by your mercy. So you kill the devatas by your mercy. Sorry, you kill the demons by your mercy, O Lord Vishnu, and the Devatas have taken shelter of you. And why the Devatas have taken shelter of you? Because they are my well wishers. They have taken shelter of you to give me liberation. Because if you kill me, I'll be liberated. So it is the Devatas who have taken shelter of you to benefit me by giving me liberation. So by killing the demons, you give them a spiritual destination. So you remain victorious though you are invisible. So and then the next verse also he says, when I will kill you, he's telling Varahadev, Hiranyaksha, when you will die by my mace, like when I actually hit you with my mace and kill you, all the demigods and sages will also die. Because you are the root for all the demigods. So once I kill you, they will all die, like the trees without roots. So, and indirectly, Vishnu Chakravarti says how when the demons will be deprived of the maze of by the Lord, not only the neophyte devotees but also the great sages will be very much satisfied. He says, whenever you kill me with your mace, not just neophyte devotees, even advanced sages will be very pleased. So, in this way, he is always giving an alternate meaning. And although the Lord was also said that he was pained by these sharp words, by he looked at Mother Earth and then he understood she is also a little frightened. So he didn't want to show his anger or anything. He just bore the pain and he rose out of the water and he gave the ability to Mother Earth to actually float. And in this way he actually was tolerating the pain that was Hiranyaksha's words were giving. And the demon I was actually saying there is uh, nothing reproachable for shameless creatures like boars. They will not bother to do anything because they are so low and shameless. So that's why you're trying to here save Mother Earth. So in this way, when he is saying, so the Lord actually places the earth on the surface of the water and gives her the ability to float. And at this point of time when the earth is being saved, Brahmaji and all the demigods are actually showering flowers on the Supreme Lord. So now, after actually hearing the criticism of Hiranyaksha, Varahadev is going to reply Hiranyaksha. So he heard all these criticisms and he just thought, okay, let me take care of this guy. So I don't want to trouble Mother Earth. So let me keep her in the right place. Like, I'm not sure if you ever see Indian cinemas. I'm not sure who are all in the call and who have some experience with Indian movies. Like the hero is going to save the heroine and the villain comes to stop him. So then there is going to be a duel. So then he just keeps the heroine in a safe place first, keeps her to the side, and then comes to fight with the villain, making sure she is safe. So similarly here, Hiranyaksha is being very abusive, and Varahadev wants to take care of him, but he sees that Mother Earth, who's sitting on his tusk, is already very frightened by the situation. So to actually pacify her, he keeps her on the side and gives her the ability to float, and so that she can be peacefully situated. and and then he comes to take care of the demon. So the Lord was very angry and he replies Hiranyaksha with very sharp words. Very strikingly, he replies him because the Lord was angry upon hearing the abusive words of the demon. And at the same time, he also was laughing at the words given by the demon because as Jaya and Vijaya, they are also his eternal associates. So here Varahadev is in a different dress and they are in a different dress. It's more like a pleasure pastime where he's trying to experience this Virya Rasa. So, so he was also happy internally hearing the other meaning of these words because they were actually indirect praises also. So that's the Lord actually gave also reply with an external meaning and an internal meaning. So the externally he says, indeed, yes, we are all jungle creatures. I'm a forest dwelling creature, and we are searching for dogs like you. So he's also kind of giving it back to him. And one who is beyond death has no fear from the loose talk of one who is bound by the laws of birth and death. He says, because I am beyond the laws of birth and death, I don't actually care whatever you say, because you can never kill me, because I am beyond birth and death. And he said in the alternate reading that Vishnu Chakravarti gives us, that the Supreme Lord is saying that how this, the Lord Himself, He can only be seen by devatas or devotees, Vana Gochara, one who is dwelling in the forest, sages. Mercifully, I actually search out sense enjoyers like Gramyam Simhan, like sense enjoyers like you. I, out of my mercy, search out for these kind of sense gratifiers to actually deliver them, because anyone who receives my mercy actually crosses over the birth and death. So just out of my mercy, I come and search animals like you, who, whereas I am being always glorified by great devotees. And he says, certainly we have stolen the charge of the inhabitants of Rasatala. I'll stay here because having enmity with a powerful enemy, I have no place to go. So he's just mocking uh, Hiranyaksha. Yes, yes, I'm so fearful because you are so powerful. I don't have, now I have created enmity with you. I have no place to go. So in this way, he is just being very sarcastic to Hiranyaksha. So in this way, he also says, give up all your foolish talk, and just engage in the battle. I'll finish you off. So in this way, he's just provoking Hiranyaksha to engage in the battle. Then the fight between Lord Varahadev and Hiranyaksha actually begins. So in this way, when he was challenged by Varahadev, Hiranyaksha becomes completely angry, and he quickly actually springs up and then gives a blow with his powerful mace. So the Lord actually first dodges the attack of Hiranyaksha, just as an accomplished yogi actually defeats death. So that now, because that Hiranyaksha is trying to attack, the Lord also becomes angry. He's getting into the rasa of fighting, Veer rasa. He's experiencing that. So he becomes very angry, and he also rushes towards the demon, and he's trying to strike him. And then with his mace, the Lord strikes Hiranyaksha, but actually Hiranyaksha protects himself by with his own mace. He counters the attack of the Lord. So in this way, they both actually fight with each other with their huge maces, with a desire to win in a very fierce way. A fierce battle is ensuing between both of them, and you can imagine the plight of Mother Earth. So how much she must be anxiously seeing who's going to win. And they both had sustained some kind of injuries on their bodies because of the blows that they were dealing with each other. So, in their eagerness to win, they were actually performing heavy fighting. They were engaged in heavy fighting. And here, Maitreya Rishi is explaining how they two actually resembled like two fierce bulls fighting bitterly for the sake of a cow. So for the sake of Mother Earth, one wants to protect and one wants to exploit. So they both are actually fighting for Mother Earth. That's how here Maitreya Rishi is explaining. And seeing that Hiranyaksha is also fighting very equally, putting up a fighting with Varahadev, the demigods become actually anxious. So Brahma actually requests Varahadev to kill Hiranyaksha. Just a minute, I'm receiving a text. Sorry. So now Brahma and the other demigods are seeing that Hiranyaksha has become so powerful, he is fighting with Lord Varahadev for quite a while. So they become actually very bewildered. So it's very interesting to note here that Brahmaji is the one who personally told the pastime of Jaya and Vijay being cursed to all the demigods. So he clearly knows these are the two demons who are in the womb of Mother Aditi. They'll become the demons Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu. And still, in this particular episode, he gets bewildered, and then he advises uh, Lord Varahadev. He, accompanied by the various sages, actually he comes to see the terrible fight that is happening. Even in the picture that is here on the screen, if you see, there are so many heavenly airplanes on the sky. So they all come to see, what's happening, how is the fight going on. So after seeing this unprecedented power of Hiranyaksha, because he is exhibiting it against none other than the Supreme Lord, so Brahmaji is like so bewildered that who can be fighting with the Supreme Lord so much. So then Hiranya and the various devatas are thinking like this demon is an offender of devatas and the devotees and the brahmanas and the cows, and he is such a sinful person. So, however, this person, Brahmaji Singh, has obtained boons from me, and he now wanders all over the universe searching for a proper combatant. So now Brahmaji actually addresses the Supreme Lord Vishnu and he says, "Oh, my dear Lord Varahadev, so there is no need to play with this person. He is very, very evil, like a snake and wicked. So before his demonic demonic time period actually arrives, kill him, finish him off. Because I see already he's very fiercely fighting with you. He's showcasing his power. I don't want him to gain more power when the demoniac time frame appears. So before that, kill him. So the darkest evening is fast approaching. So kindly kill this demon and win victory for the demigods. And he also explains what is the nakshatra that is going to appear, which is going to be like very powerful for Hiranyaksha. So here it is where we will see how the Supreme Lord is going to react to the words of Brahmaji. And it's very interesting to see how Brahmaji, who is the same person who knew about this curse and the appearance of Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu, is getting involved in that, absorbed in that situation, and also being concerned that the Lord defeats this demon. One concern is for the demigods. At the same time, also he is also concerned for the Supreme Lord. So here in this chapter 19, what is the time? Just a minute. 7:46. Okay, we'll finish quickly. So here in the 19th chapter, actually the Supreme Lord actually smiles at whatever, hearing whatever Brahmaji has to say, because he understands, oh my God, I'm hearing engaging in a fight for my pleasure. And Brahmaji is really bewildered. So he feels that as very amusing. In spite of knowing, Brahmaji has got bewildered actually. And this morning there was a beautiful class with Janvi. So she was saying how sometimes we see a very famous actor, our favorite actor. We know that this person is such and such. And when he plays a particular role in a movie, even though we know this person is acting in this role, still we completely become absorbed in that role. On the one side of our head, we know this person, this whole thing is a drama. This person is a different person. He is only accepting a temporary identity. But still, instead of knowing that person and seeing that person for such a long time in so many different roles, we still get absorbed in that particular role that the actor is playing in that given movie. So that is how it's so inconceivable. Even within our heads, we go through this experience, but we can quite explain how it is possible. So the inconceivability is right within our own experience. Forget about the Supreme Lord's appearance. In this very world, when we, in spite of knowing who's the actor and knowing sometimes the actor in so many seen in so many other movies, still when we watch a movie, we completely get absorbed in the role that the person is playing. And at the same time, we have some awareness that this person is not exactly this role, but he is separate identity also. So how that kind of an absorption and bewilderment happens even for us in this world. Here the Supreme Lord is observing that Brahmaji is also getting the same absorption. So he's so happy that everybody is absorbed in the pastime, and he is also absorbed in the pastime. At the same time, he also actually hearing the words of Brahma, he smiles because he understands, oh, it's just the mood of Brahmaji. He's anxious for safety of the Lord and the safety of the demigods and safety of earth. And he's also fearful of the wicked demons. So how he is so absorbed in the pastime, Lord Varaha actually smiles and accepts his prayers with love. because he understands it is not just Brahmaji's calculating, it is also out of love, coming out of love. So very pleased, actually Brahmaji accepts, Lord Varahadev accepts the prayers or the warnings or the suggestions of Brahmaji. He's not just saying, oh, Brahmaji, what do you know about me, about my prowess? How is this demon going to kill me? And he can even get angry. Well, who are you to suggest me? Who are you to direct me? I know everything. So he's not becoming angry, or he is not just feeling disgusted by the unnecessary anxiety of Brahmaji. Rather, he accepts the essence of his mood. He understands, okay, Brahmaji is actually uh, wanting to be sure that everything goes well. So, understanding his mood, he accepts the prayers of Brahma with love, and he actually starts fighting with Hiranyaksha. So the Lord actually aims his mace at the chin of Hiranyaksha. So, but the demon actually strikes back with this mace, and the Lord's mace actually slips from his hand. Can you imagine? The Lord's mace slips from his hand and then falls down into the ocean. And this is something, what do you call, like, very significant. How can you make a weapon from the hand of the Supreme Lord fall? And especially when you're engaging in a fighting, the opponent is going to feel so confident when this happens. Just imagine the ego of Hiranyaksha. He's like, wow, I first finally did it. And this, I thought this Vishnu is so powerful and he is indefeatable, and he is here. I just hit him and he dropped his mace. I'm so powerful. I can actually conquer this Varahadev. I just have to be even a little more strong and continue with the fight. I will be able to conquer him. That confidence comes. That is the only reason that the Lord drops the mace. He is also very expert in understanding to increase the rasa in the fighting. So just to increase the confidence of Hiranyaksha, he actually drops his own mace in the pretext of fighting with Hiranyaksha. So Hiranyaksha thinks, oh, it's my power that the mace has fallen, and that means this guy is weaker than me. I can surely conquer him. So that he is very happily engaging. He is more eager to engage and fighting more fiercely. So though the actually when the mace was fallen, he waited actually for the Lord to pick up. So as the Lord's mace fall, all the demigods and the sages who were witnessing this became completely like bewildered. They were so alarmed, and acknowledging actually their feelings, as well as understanding that the demon is waiting for him to pick up a weapon. The mace has already fallen into the ocean. So he actually invoked Sudarshana Chakra. So as the Lord was engaging in play with the demon Hiranyaksha, so all the demigods and the sages who were witnessing this fight between Varahadev and Hiranyaksha, they were actually crying out because they were getting covered. Their knowledge of the Supreme Lord's omnipotence or his power was getting a little bit covered from their eyes. And then they were just actually shouting, may victory attend you, please kill him, please kill him. So they were so anxious that the demon gets killed. And the Lord actually afterwards overthrows the mace of Hiranyaksha. So let's see how that happens. Because seeing the Lord with his chakra, the demon senses were actually com- the demon was becoming very angry. Hiranyaksha was becoming super angry that now the Lord Vishnu has invoked a Sudarshan chakra. So he was hissing like a serpent. He was basically so angry, and he started to stare at the Lord, and as though to burn him. He was like looking at the Lord like with so much anger, and he jumps up into the air and then aims his mace at the Lord, exclaiming that you bore, you are dead, you're finished. So you just kind of close your eyes and just imagine it's just a huge ocean, and here this amazing huge form of the Lord Varahadev is there. Earth planet is floating on the side, and here Hiranyaksha is is like jumping up in the air, trying to attack him with all his energy, with so much anger. And the Lord actually effortlessly knocks down the mace of Hiranyaksha. With what does he knock? With his left foot. He just he just kicks the mace of Hiranyaksha with his left foot. And then the Lord says, like, okay, you, when I dropped my weapon, you waited for me to pick up my weapon. So now you take up your weapon and try again. So because you are so eager to conquer me, you're so eager to kill me, so I'll give you a chance. Again, try. Just pick up your mace. So the demon was so ferocious that again he is getting a chance from his enemy to pick up the weapon. So he picks up the weapon with all the anger. He again roaring very loudly comes to attack Varahadev, and still he could not do anything because the Lord actually playfully caught hold of the mace, because he's coming to very strongly attack him, and then the Lord playfully held the mace and he was not allowing to move. So Hiranyaksha was so frustrated. He was like, with all his valor he was trying, and then here the boar is like just holding it. Because especially when you have called ill names at the boar and considering that form as very low and all these things, and when you get defeated in the hands of the same boar, it's a real insult. So he was feeling very humiliated, and he was actually reluctant to take back the mace when it was offered by the Lord, because the Lord actually held the mace and not allowing to move, takes it from Hiranyaksha and gives it back to him. And Hiranyaksha was so frustrated and humiliated, he wasn't sure to take back. And so now realizing that the mace, he could not attack the Lord with the mace, and he doesn't want to take it from the hands of Varahadev back. It's like, okay, I'm throwing this as a like a beggar. You are a beggar. I'm just giving you this mace. Take it. That's what Varahadev was snatched from his hand, and he was giving it back. Hiranyaksha says, no, I don't want it from your hands. I'm not taking it. So instead of a mace, he actually takes up a trident, and he actually he invokes that trident with his mystic powers, and then he throws it at the Lord. And it was a powerful trident, and the Lord actually cuts the trident with his chakra, because both of them earlier were fighting with mace. And first Varahadev's mace actually slipped into the ocean, and instead of picking it up, he just invoked Sudarshan. Now Hiranyaksha's mace was frustrated by the Supreme Lord. So because he was so egoistic, he didn't take back the mace from the Lord, rather he invoked a trident, and he threw the trident at the Supreme Lord. And now the Lord was using his chakra to cut that trident of Hiranyaksha. And Hiranyaksha was so angry that his trident was being neutralized by Varahadev. He actually goes and strikes the chest of the Lord with his hard fist. Because first he had mace, then he took up the trident, but both were frustrated. So, taking his own hand, he was so frustrated, he goes and just hits on the chest of the Lord and then disappears. With his fist, he hit the Lord very hardly on his chest, and he disappears. But the Lord was not at all disturbed by that hard fist of Hiranyaksha, because it is here Maitreya Rishi is saying that hit the fist of Hiranyaksha, which was so strong, when it hit Varahadev, it was as if an elephant was being struck by a garland. It's so pleasurable. If not, it's not at all when you strike a person with a garland, it's not very painful or anything. It's not so strong. So similarly, the Lord was not feeling anything, rather he was feeling happy. And then now Hiranyaksha took up weapons first, and then he used his physical power. And I realizing that these both are not going to work anymore, so he actually takes to illusions. So he creates different illusions to bewilder Varahadev and overcome him. So Hiranyaksha then he employs so many illusions against the Lord. So seeing this, actually the others who were looking at it were very terrified, because Suddenly, fierce winds were beginning to blow, and stones were being thrown. There was stone pelting, and then the sky was becoming devoid of all the luminaries due to clouds. And he was creating all this with his mystic power. And then there was a sudden rain of pus, blood, stool, urine, and bones. It's so disgusting. He created all that happen. And then actually mountains, there were mountains coming up, and they were discharging weapons. They were naked demonesses actually dancing, armed with tridents. So it was all like very, very disgusting, just to make the opponent lose his mind. These illusions actually are like more of a bewilderment. You just feel disgusted. A person, especially in the mode of goodness, feels very disgusted looking at these things. At that time they can attack him when he is feeling disgusted. Even Shalva employs these kind of illusions in the battlefield in Dwarka when he attacks Dwarka, and he even produces Vasudev, and he shows how Vasudev, he drags Vasudev and cuts his head before Krishna. Everything in illusion that he is creating. So, and so many extras Rakshasas were created, and they were howling and shouting slogans against the Supreme Lord. So then the Lord actually invokes the chakra, which was capable of destroying all illusions. Because Su Darshan means Darshan is one with is the reality, which reveals the reality, and Sudarshan is one which reveals the utmost reality, so which clearly establishes the reality. So the Lord invokes Sudarshan to dispel all these illusions. So at that time, when this particular fight was happening, suddenly Diti was actually experiencing some kind of some kind of an unease in her heart. So it's she was experiencing, okay, something is wrong is happening, and there was blood which is flowing from her breast, and she understood, okay, there's something inauspicious going on. So, and with his illusions, when Hiranyaksha tried to overcome the power of the Lord, and when the Lord dispelled his illusions, he was actually so frustrated. So Hiranyaksha actually tries to squeeze the Lord's body with his arms, and but to his amazement, however much he had, because he was extremely powerful, he found that the Lord was actually outside the grasp. He would go and try to squeeze the Lord, and as soon as he actually almost tries to hold him, he sees the Lord is standing outside his grasp. So continuously this was happening. So he who employed tricks, the Lord also employed tricks on him. And this time the demon was completely bewildered. When he had mace, the Lord also had mace. And when the Lord took Sudarshan, he also took trident. And first he applied illusions, and now the Lord was applying illusions. And Hiranyaksha was completely getting bewildered. And after getting frustrated, he again struck the chest of the Lord with his hard fist. And now, finally, the Lord was not even hardly striking him. He just very casually struck him the root of his ear. In Hindi, it's called like Khan ke niche bajana. So like that, he just slaps the demon Hiranyaksha very slightly, like this, at the root of his ears. And although he was stuck in a very indifferent way, casually, Hiranyaksha's actually body began to rotate with that force of like the the movement. This movement happens, so he starts wheeling, he starts rotating because of the force of the Lord's slight touch. And because of that pressure, his eyeballs come out, and his arms and legs get broken, his hairs get scattered, and he falls down dead. So now after this happens, the Brahmaji and the demigods actually praise uh, not just the Supreme Lord, they also praise Hiranyaksha. That's so amusing to see how, as soon as they see that Hiranyaksha is dead, what are they saying? They're saying, "Oh my God, what a blessed death! That this person met death at the hands of the Supreme Lord." He says he was struck by the forefoot of the Lord, because the Lord also strikes him. He's saying, "Oh my God, these on whom the yogis meditate, whose dust of the lotus feet, on whose lotus feet the yogis meditate, and this guy actually got to be struck by the forefoot of the same Supreme Lord. And while seeing the face of the Supreme Lord, he actually got to cast off his body. So, and then they also say, oh, this is not just any normal demons also. These were two assistants of the Lord, and being having been cursed, they appeared as demons and will actually get back to their positions after a few births. So they know this. At the same time, they got involved when the Lord was fighting with him. So it's like very amusing to see that in spite of knowing these are demons, at the same time they are fearful of these demons. At the same time, they also know these are the Lord's associates. So then the demigods glorify the Lord, saying, all obeisances to you, O the Supreme Lord. So you are the enjoyer of all sacrifices. You have assumed these forms, especially the form of a boar, in pure sattva, in its Atma Maya, for the sake of maintaining the world. So now that the demon has been slain, we are actually at ease, and we offer all our devotion at your lotus feet. So in this way, the demigods glorify Varahadev. So then Maitreya kind of concludes the narration. He says, then the Lord actually returns to his abode, where there is always uninterrupted festivities. Akhanditotsavam. The spiritual world is called as Akhanditotsavam because there is eternal festival going on there. So the Lord returns there, being praised by all the demigods. So in this way, Maitreya says to Vidura that I have explained all that I have heard about Varahadev's pastimes with Hiranyaksha, what is the reason of his fight and how the fight happened. This is what I have heard from my spiritual master. So that's what I am telling to you. So in this way, Maitreya speaks to Vidura. And then Sutta Goswami actually speaks to Shaunaka rishis. So that how Vidura, after hearing this pastime of Varahadev and Hiranyaksha's fighting from the lotus mouth of Maitreya, he experiences transcendental bliss by hearing these pastimes of the Supreme Lord from such authoritative personalities like Maitreya. And having very pleased, he glorifies the aspect of hearing about the Lord. He says, hearing about the Lord and his devotees are such pleasurable things. So people may take transcendental pleasure in the works of not just the Supreme Lord, of his devotees also. Because here Hiranyaksha is a devotee also. So, what to speak of hearing the pastimes of the Supreme Lord? People can take pleasure even in the transcendental activities of the devotees. Anyesham punyashlokanam uddama yashasham satam upashrutya bhavenmodaha srivatsankasya kim punah. So, it's not just the Supreme Lord's pastimes, even his devotees' pastimes are very, very uh, pleasurable. And he also says how the Lord delivered Gajendra, who meditate upon the Lord's lotus feet. So when he was attacked by an alligator. So it's very important that everyone meditates on the Supreme Lord because he can, whoever that may be, even if it's an animal, it can be delivered. So, and then he says, if such a great Lord is there, who can be actually grateful not to worship that Supreme Lord? Tam sukaradyam rujubir ananya sharanirnurvi kritagya kona sreveta duraradhyam asadhubi. So he says, who is that ungrateful person who would not worship the Lord? Kritagya kona seveta. Who is that grateful person who will not seveta, who will not serve the Supreme Lord? And who is that? Who can be easily pleased by these spotless devotees who take exclusive shelter of him? Ananya Sharanair Nirvi. However, unrighteous people will not find it easy to worship the Supreme Lord. Duraradhyam asadhubi. Worshipping the Supreme Lord, serving Him is very difficult for Duraradhya, means one who is sinful. And then he glorifies he mentions the Falashruti for hearing this passage. He says, anyone who hears, chants, or takes pleasure in this narration will be relieved from sinful results, even from the sin of killing a Brahmana. And it also confers extraordinary merit, wealth, position, fame, long life, prowess of the senses, and life where during battle. So one who listens it at the last moment is transferred to the abode of the Lord. Etan mahapunyamalam pavitram dhanyam yashashyam padamayurashisham pranendriyanam yudhishaurya narayano ante gatiranga shinvatam. So this is the Falashruti. In this way, Sutta Goswami is glorifying the pastimes of Varahadev to Shaunaka the rishis, which is being described by Shukadeva Goswami to Parikshit Maharaj, which was spoken by Maitri Rishi to Vidura. So in this way, we had a conversation inside a conversation inside another conversation. So in this way, Varahadev valiantly fights with Hiranyaksha to enjoy Virya Rasa and also to satisfy the demigods. So in this way, this pastime of Varahadev is being explained by Maitreya Rishi to Vidura. So thank you so much for taking your time and giving your attention. I'm not sure if I really uh, went ahead of time. I'm sorry. So Jai Srila Prabhupada and Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Panchakalpataru Vaishya Kripa Sindhu Cha Patitanam Bhavane Hare Krishna. So if there are any questions, you can take.